Hey y'all, welcome. I want to talk to y'all today about cancer, about the effects that it can have on someone, especially when they're new to it. They don't know much about it. Um, all the ups and downs. I myself was recently diagnosed with breast cancer, HER2, HER2. It is like a stage 2 to a 3. It has jumped from the breast into the lymph node underneath the arm. Thankfully, I had some body scans, and that is the only place that the cancer is present. It has not moved or decided to take camp anywhere else in my body, thankfully. And saying that, having cancer and saying it out loud is like, wow. Because I never thought that I'd be the one that would wake up with it. Of course, I'm sure there's a lot of women that say the same thing. Yeah, I never thought. Who knew, right? Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your job is. It doesn't matter what you look like. Cancer is cancer. You can wake up one morning and be as healthy as can be, and then by that evening go to a doctor's appointment and find out, wow, you just been slammed with a bag of bricks, or worse. I really cannot explain it. If I was to go back, I found out that I had cancer about a month ago. If it all started, and the crazy thing about my cancer is it's not hereditary. So I can rule that out. I had the genetic testing done, and it's not hereditary. And the craziest thing is it's not hormonal. And I would have thought it would have been hormonal, considering I had a lot of issues with my monthly. Around January, as old as I am, I thought this whole time I was in premenopause. And of course, I'd gone through the premenopause and my body was going into menopause. And I did not know this until I had took myself to the emergency room one night. And when they did all their lab work and everything came back, well, apparently I was going into menopause. But long story short, I had a monthly for 3 months, just about 3 months. And I had lost so much blood that they wanted to give me a blood transfusion. And I had told them no. I'm not encouraging those to say no about a blood transfusion. I chose no for me. Everyone is different. Only because I knew how my body felt at that moment. I knew how it felt because this was my normal every day. I knew how my periods were. I knew how my body felt every time I had a period. So me losing this much blood was normal to me. And long story short, again, they said I needed a hysterectomy. So we set that in motion, and a week later, I had a hysterectomy. I had the laparoscopic robotic one done where they made 4 incisions along my abdomen area, and they removed my cervix, they removed my uterus, they left both ovaries. So I healed up from that, but during that time frame, I had a knot that was present in my breast, and I had went in many years back, good 10 years or so, and I had a mammogram done. Well, then it was like the size of a BB. They said it was just a little cyst field, nothing to worry about, ever. So, I shouldn't say ever. They just said at that time, there's nothing to worry about. Well, now we're 10-something years later. And everything was fine. Everything was good. I didn't have any issues with my breast or anything like that. And I got my period. this last one that I did have to start off 2025 with, I was like, wow, this one is really gone crazy. My body has decided it's going to pack its bag and it's going to the crazy bin, because my body decided today's the day that we're going to get you off track. We're going to throw whatever you got or we got, we're going to throw it at you. And it did. It did. The doctor checked the knot that was in my breast and said, okay, well, we'll send you over to one of our doctors here to have it checked out and get you set up for mammogram. Well, they did that. And I waited patiently. And then after my mammogram, I had a biopsy done. I had a biopsy done of the knot that was found in my breast and the one that was under my arm, in my lymph node. And I kind of had a feeling of watching them do this on the screen, watching the screen and everything. You know, I could see the mass inside. I could see the mass myself on the screen. And I kind of had an idea, but I didn't want it to be a reality. So I just kind of, I guess, blew it off a little bit. Or at least in my mind. When we got home, later that evening when we got home, I decided I was going to check on my charts and to see if there were any messages or anything like that. And I hadn't received anything yet. So about 2 days go by, and then I get a message of my results. And of course, I'm impatient. I want to know what my results mean. What are these, you know, what are they telling me? So, of course, I've looked it up. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe it's wrong. And then I got the phone call. To go from everything's great, I mean, everything's still great, we just have a little bit of a curveball through in there. I walked outside to tell my husband, and trying to walk out there to tell my husband that I have cancer, it took the wind out of my sails. All I could do was cry. I just buried my head in his chest and I just cried. I go from being active to, golly, everything I do, I watch what I put in my body, I watch everything I do. But like I said, cancer doesn't care who you are, what you look like. It's one of those little vacationers that decides to pack its suitcase and move in. So, here I am, about a month and a half after being diagnosed. I've already done my first treatment of chemo 5 days ago. And let me tell you this, first treatment of chemo wasn't what I thought it would be. Yes, I felt very anxious. I was scared. Thankfully, we chose a place, a cancer care center that has some comfort. And what I mean by that is where you receive your treatment is important. If you walk into a place to receive treatment for all these hours that you get to sit in these chairs and have these nurses hand you these medicines, excuse me, that are supposed to go into your body. You want that environment to feel comforting. You want it to feel, you want to know that it is okay, that you're not alone. You want to have some kind of peace of mind. So where you choose to have your treatment, it does matter. So whenever you are, if you're coming into cancer for the first time, like me, I love to do my research. I will read things like crazy. I'll look it up. I'll just do your research. Thankfully, my husband works with a great group of people that were able to recommend a place, and I made a phone call. And because of that, I was able to get in. And the moment we made that road trip to go there, I knew that's where I was supposed to be for my treatment. It's very important who you surround yourself with. It really is. I'm not going to cry, so let's suck this up. Anyways, my first day of treatment was, I was anxious. I think I've said that. I had a port placement. And the reason I chose to have a port placement is that they can do a port placement or they can do the IV in the arm. But if they do the IV in the arm, because of so many treatments that I'm required to have, it can weaken your veins. And it also can set up for infections and other things like that. So I had a port placement a week before I started my first chemo treatment. And they placed it here, which is right here. This is where they put the port in, and this is where they will access it every time I go in for a treatment. The treatment itself, they put a lot of fluids in you for hydration and nausea and other things like that, but the treatment itself, it was very long. Very long. I did choose to do cold capping for my hair, which is a cap that goes on top of my head, and what it is, it plays into this machine, and it regulates it cools your hair follicles down to a certain temperature to where it actually feels like a brain freeze, like you just had to eat that whole gallon of ice cream so fast that you just got this brain freeze that will not go away for hours. But after sitting there for about 30 minutes with it, you kind of get adjusted to it. You kind of get numb, I guess, and it's not so bad. And the reason I chose to do that is to try and save my hair. Now, everyone's different when it comes to cold capping. Some it works for, some it doesn't. I do know that my hair will still thin, but probably not as much to where it's as noticeable, only because my hair thins every day. I brush it anyways. So it'd be probably just something normal to me, brushing my hair, and I always have to clean out my hairbrush. I got my cold capping through Paxman. I love the system and how it works. I don't have to worry about carrying a cooler around or an ice pack or anything like that. It's just something I put on my head and they plug it into their system, and I'm able to use that during my treatment sessions of going through chemo. What else to talk about? After chemo, the same day after chemo, Um, I really didn't feel a whole lot of difference until a few hours later. I just felt tired. Now the day after chemo, that was a different ball game. I felt tired and nauseated. I didn't really feel 100%. Kind of like you get the flu, but 100 times worse. Day 3 is when I felt my worst. My body hurt. My bones hurt so bad. I just wanted to cry. Just cry, cry, cry. My bones hurt. And when they tell you when you get your booster shot the day after chemo, you know, the booster shot itself hurts. That was not fun. Not fun at all. But when it finally kicked in, because they told me to take, you know, you want to take an allergy medicine like Claritin, you know, to help with it. And I'm like, okay, well, what is that going to do? And I didn't think it would do anything, but it did help. It did help. But the bone ache is like, wow. There's not a word for bone ache. I cannot, if there's a word, then I haven't found it yet. But there is not a word to describe how you feel when your entire body from head to toe hurts. Your bones hurt. Every strand of your hair on top of your head, your eyebrows, you name it. Everything on your body that has a nerve hurts. It hurts. Today is day 5 after treatment. Today I feel better. I actually got up and I was able to go in there and actually do a little bit of house cleaning finally. Didn't do much, but I did. It is definitely, it's a different kind of rodeo, that's for sure. It really is. It really is. Thankfully, I've got a good support system around me. They help. They help me more than they realize. My daughters, they're very helpful. If you tell your kids you need quiet time, it doesn't happen. I love them though. They're all adults except for one. Yep. And having adult kids, I'm not quite sure if it's worse than teenage kids or toddlers. No, I'm joking. They're amazing. They truly are amazing. My husband is the biggest support that I could ever imagine. Bless his heart, he tries so hard to make sure I have the things that I need, or I don't have to get up and do anything, or he wears himself out. And I am more than thankful. More than thankful to have the family I do. to have the support I do. If you don't have support around you, you need someone to help support, to tell you, you got this. I'm here. You got this. My aunt, she lives in another state. And she is my second biggest supporter. If it wasn't for my husband, my aunt, and my kids, I really don't know what I would do. Maybe join a support group. I don't know. And if someone does need a support group, please find one. Please find somebody that you can talk to that will help you get through it. They may have some good advice to help you get through it. Talking to the camera is not my thing, as you can tell. It's really not. I get lost for words. I fidget. I don't know what to say. That's okay. You're not supposed to know what to say all the time anyways, huh? Well, thank you for listening to me ramble, not really make a whole lot of sense. In my head, I made a lot of sense. In my head, I did. But then once I hit, record for this video, all that sense I thought I was making went right out the window. Right out the window. I even got me some notes here. See? Some notes. Stuff to talk about. How to talk about it. And yet, they didn't do me a bit of good because I didn't pay attention to them. I don't know how on earth my girls do it. They can turn the camera on, start talking, and just you name it, and they just go with it. I turn the camera on, and I lose my words, don't know what to say. That's okay. But this is my first video, so thank y'all for hanging in there with me. Hopefully the next one will be better. If not, that's okay. You know why it's okay? Because it's life. It is. And it's also okay. It's because I know where my faith is. And I know that God has got this. He has got this all the way. He doesn't know our journey. No, sorry. He does know our journey. I don't know my journey. See, I can't even talk. I don't know my journey, but He does. There we go. So, He's got this. And day by day, I got this too. Because I know I can and I will get through this. So till next time. Bless you all. Have a wonderful day.